Let's do it.
Okay. All right, hello everybody. My name is Tiana Mudzimurema, and for my presentation, I really want to interact with you guys. So whenever you guys feel the urge to talk to me, like I want to hear what you want to say, okay? Is that good with everybody? Okay, awesome. So now, how many of you all know who Shakespeare is? Everyone? Okay, great. Now, how many of you all can say that his amazing works of literature has literally changed your lives? Okay, great. Okay, so let me explain my story. Okay, so when I was 9 years old, I started reading Shakespeare at the Robinson Community Learning Center. I would have started younger. But the age limit was 9. Now, how many of you all know of an African-American female begging to read Shakespeare? Yeah, that was me. Okay, so from the moment I started talking about Shakespeare, probably 12 of you have fallen asleep. But trust me, this is worth listening to. The person I stand before you today and the girl I was at 9 years old, I stand before you a completely different person. Now, I wasn't stealing cars at the age of 9, but I would have ended up somewhere down that road if it wasn't for Shakespeare. I was angry and confused, but never showed it. But Shakespeare was the one place where I could just let everything go and be vulnerable. When I was 12 years old, my father passed away, and I would cry, but the hurt and the pain just wouldn't go away. And one day during practice, my director, Christy Burgess, she pulled me to the side and was like, hey, I want you to take all your pain and your grief and put it into this scene. And I did. And when it came to performance, I made every single person in that room cry. Not because I was just this little girl doing Shakespeare, but because they could feel my pain too. And by letting all of those horrid emotions out, I started to come into the person that God wanted me to be. As you can see on the screens, I've been a part of so many plays and have been able to build relationships with some wonderful people. Shakespeare at the Robinson Center is where I just learned how to be a genuinely good friend. And the relationships that I built through Shakespeare, those are the same people that gave me opportunities that I would never have even thought of thinking about. For example, just last month, I was able to perform at the Hesburgh Library at Notre Dame for the opening of the first folio. Now, for those of you, thank you. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the first folio, it's this 393-year-old book that all of Shakespeare's actors came together and they wrote down his plays to save them. So that's why we have some of his greatest plays. And speaking of plays, like I said before, I've been a part of so many plays. I've played Gonzalo in The Tempest, Maria in The Merry Wives of Windsor, Juliet in Romeo and Juliet, Richard III in Richard III. And in this spring's production of A Midsummer's Night Dream, I am honored to play the role as Puck. So, thank you. Yes. So now I have prepared a monologue for you all, and it's not the typical Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo monologue. I wanted to do something a little different to broaden your knowledge of what you know about Shakespeare currently. So I will perform a monologue from Richard III. Now is the winter of our discontent. May glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lower upon our house into the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Grim vicious war have smoothed his wrinkled front, and now instead of mounting barded steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in the lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that I am not shaped for such sportive tricks, nor made to court the amorous looking glass, I, that am rudely stamped, want love's majesty, to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time, into this breathing world scarce half made up, so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why I, in this piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to see my shadow in the sun and descent on my own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Thank you.